fantastic food and drinks, an amazing Vegas-style atmosphere with seating for nearly 900 of your closest friends. Conveniently located at 711 Central Avenue, right off Exit 5 of I-90 in Albany, the Clubhouse Racebook is the better choice.
Philippines cruise.
Welcome back to Racing Across America on this Monday morning, closing day here at Saratoga, and we're happy to be joined on closing day by Ken Ramsey, who established a new season win mark for owners here at Saratoga. Good morning, Ken.
Good morning, Seth.
It was a very good meet for you. Congratulations. And I want to start out, I ask most of my guests this, how'd you become a racing fan?
Well, long story. I have an aunt named Aunt Ruby. When I was 5 years old, she took me to Louisville, Kentucky on a Christmas shopping trip. And I cried to see Churchill Downs. So she said, if you'll hush crying, I will take you to Churchill Downs. So after she finished her Christmas shopping, the taxi driver took me over, and I got out and beheld the Twin Spires for the first time, and have been enchanted and amazed by it ever since.
Then how did you shift over to become an owner-breeder?
Well, I've always loved horses. Matter of fact, after that, I ended up going to school at Union College on a scholarship, and I wrote my English theme paper on the Kentucky Derby. So I found out, the first Saturday made, 3-year-olds, 126 pounds and all that. So I've always been fascinated by it, and got in the real estate business and ended up getting a few shekels ahead. So I claimed a horse called Red Redeemer at old Miles Park in Louisville. It's now a housing project, but for $1,500. But anyway, it turned out not to be all that good. The trainer I got was a local guy that I knew, and he was supposed to be checking the horse out. Got him back to the barn, and he went around on the side, and he waved his hand like that. He said, my gosh, he only has one eye. So basically what we did, we claimed no gelding with one eye, no testicles, and 3 legs. So it had to be nothing except up from there. We started out on the bottom, so very inauspicious beginning. That's how I got started.
And it has certainly been a ride up over the past few years, no question about it. I also read when I was doing a little bio information, you were a trainer briefly.
Yes. Anything I'm going to do, I'm going to try to learn about all I can, read all the books, and go to school and get all the information I can get. So I thought as a trainer I'd learn how to tack them up, tie their tongues down, and do all that. So in other words, I could kind of be in their shoes for a little bit, so later on if I turned out to be a successful owner, I would know what was going on, and they couldn't really pull the wool over my eyes. So yeah, I'm on record. I officially had a winner at River Downs.
Very good.
His name was Party Hours. He paid $52. Nobody believed we could put him over.
There you go. Very good. As I say, it's all been up since then. Particularly this year has been absolutely crazy, and congratulations. The Gulfstream title, a win mark at Churchill Downs, a win mark at Keeneland, 32 at Churchill, 25 at Keeneland. You're currently 22 with the win mark up here at Saratoga. And a lot of those, you have to be able to play the game at all levels if you're going to win that many. And you play the claiming game particularly well. You're very crafty. How do you play the claiming game, and how involved are you in picking the horses?
Well, we've actually had a very successful meet here on all fronts. We won a Grade 1, we won a Grade 2, and 2 more. We've run 4 stake races so far. But I sit down and read the racing form. I have my raggers and sheets. I depend on those for claiming purposes. I pick out probably 90% of them myself. The trainer may call occasionally and say, hey, I like so-and-so. He ran good the last time and look clean and healthy. But I try to find one for that may be going on the wrong surface, like he should be on the turf. He's on the dirt, going the wrong distance, something like that. A trainer that I think we can improve on. But most of all, especially up here, you can get a lot of good claims because the purses are so huge that the guys are willing to risk a $50,000 horse for 25 or 35 because the purses makes up for it. And I do the same thing. I mean, I've lost probably 20 horses up here and probably claimed 20-some.
And so are you sitting at home, looking through your information and then watching races from around the country as well, kind of picking physical?
Yes, I watch them, but I don't do so much trip handicapping as I do my raggers and sheets sitting there going over the form, disguising them. And we've got the 22 wins up here, and I don't know if you know it or not, but back when Susie O'Kane was on the show up here, I was on several times, and I think I was on either 5 or 6, picked a winner each day, each time I was on. So my winner today, and I hope
we want it.
I hope they won't. Those guys won't. It's a claiming horse, and I own him myself. So I'm sure that they wouldn't claim a horse off a nice guy like me just because I put his name out. But his name is Groom for Victory, and he's running a second race today, and he has what it takes to win, whether it's on the slop or or whatever it turns out to be. I know all the races are off the turf today.
So you're 5 for 5 here on Capital OTB previously. So you're going for a sweep.
My only miscue was they insisted on getting an exacta one day, and I threw in the exacta, and I didn't hit the exacta. So when I came to the track, some of the fans, "Oh, you cost me the exacta." You know, I told you I don't win the exacta. I'm a straight win-winner. Anyway, Groom for Victory is my horse for the day.
You can never satisfy bettors. There's no question about it. Well, as you said, you play the claiming game very successfully, but you've also won at the high end up here. And I pulled up some video of what had to be one of the most incredible weekends ever for an owner breeder. And surprisingly, it's a horse that you didn't walk into the winner's circle because you were in Arlington. We're going to watch the finish of the Sword Dancer. Big Blue Kitten is going to win that one here at Saratoga. Meanwhile, out at Arlington, Admiral Kitten wins the Secretariat. Yep. You were there. You were at Arlington. Real Solution wins the Arlington Million on a DQ. 3 Grade 1 races in an afternoon. What was that like for an owner and breeder?
Well, to breed all 3 of them and still own all 3 of them, and you know, lead 2 of them in because one of them wasn't at Arlington Park. That was probably the most incredible feat we've ever pulled. That surpasses. And my highlight before was winning the Dubai World Cup with Roses in May. Now that was on the world stage also, and that particular day, I mean, we was the best horse in the world because they invited horses from a half a dozen countries. So, but this to win 3 Grade 1s with a homebred. And we still have most of the connections, like the Myers, the siblings, and all that. So, you know, a rising tide raises all ships. So that made all my weanlings and brood mares and all of them value. So incredibly financially, but I'm not in the game for the money. I like the highs and the lows, and I don't like life going like that. I mean, so enjoy when you're on top. It's a slippery slope. I just hope we save something for the Breeders' Cup. I'd like to put on a good show out in Santa Anita this coming November.
And talk a little bit about the mainstay of your operation, Kitten's Joy, early in the racing career, and then moving that one over to the breeding shed.
Well, he started off being a good horse. We had Jerry Bailey come up and check him out on the dirt. I won the Derby horse. That's still on my bucket list. I haven't got that one knocked off yet. I remember we brought him up Palm Meadows and worked him, and Jerry got off and said, "Ken, he still had the same kick, but it wasn't as powerful. I believe if it was my horse, I'd leave him on the turf." Jerry Bailey is one of my all-time favorite jockeys and very intelligent guy on NBC as an analyst now, and knew what he was talking about. So I left the horse on the turf, and he went on, to be the 2-year-old turf champion, and did not win the Breeders' Cup. Ran the best horse that day, went off 3 to 5. I believe it was 3 to 5, and big pick 6 carryover where he's practically everybody's single, including mine. But had a difficult trip. The New York steward said it should have been a DQ on that one. We was foul, but anyway, the number stayed up. So, but he's turned out to be a fantastic sire. He's the franchise player on our farm. We treat him like a king. He got the best of feed. He's got alternate paddocks, so he's got the green grass all the time. We built something called a Kitten Spa, which is a 64-foot ramp going down in. I got a treadmill underwater, 80-degree temperature. We take him out of that. We put him on a machine that I bought over in Sweden called a vibrator platform. That's good for bone density. A lot of the big hospitals use it for women for osteoporosis. You don't have to take all that calcium, get all the buildup. So this horse is treated like a sheik or a king or a queen. I mean, we're trying to keep him around.
And let me ask you this, certainly after a big weekend, I had people come up to me and say over the weekend, we see a couple of eclipses sewn up. You've won the Owner's Eclipse a couple of times. You see maybe Owner's Eclipse out there at the end of the year, as well as potentially a Breeder's Eclipse, you would have to think.
Well, the Breeder's Eclipse would really, really, really be an achievement because that means we had accomplished it 99% with one horse. Yeah. And to accomplish it with one horse, I think that is very significant. Now, I know a lot of the riders won't ever use, whoever wins the most money, but we're going into the last week, I was 2,000 behind Stronach. So if we have success in the Breeders' Cup, we could possibly pull it off. That would be the crowning achievement to get Breeder of the Year. I'll leave it up to the voters. I just do the best I can. Every day I'm in there doing all I can. So if you do everything you can, it turns out well, fine. Yeah, you got to put yourself in a position to get lucky, and we're trying to do that.
And that weekend certainly puts you in a very, very good position.
Right.
I think we have a shot yesterday. They had the ceremony for the top owner, top trainer, top jockey. You were obviously with the season win mark. There you are, getting the award, top owner at the meet. You mentioned when you made remarks the day before that Saratoga was your favorite racetrack. What's so special about Saratoga?
It's the atmosphere. It's like a carnival, like a big picnic up here. It's the fans. I mean, everything is racing, racing, racing. You can go to some of these other places, like Keeneland's also a special place in Churchill Downs, but they don't focus 100%. The whole town, I've been told, is kind of reminiscent of the Melbourne Cup down in Australia, which that's the only race in the country, I think, where they actually have a national holiday, shut down all the retails and everything to go watch. They don't exactly do that up here, but it's almost that way. And it's just the picnic area, the tables, and it's just, I don't know. And if you want to gamble, and let's face it, I think racing needs to concentrate more on the horse players. You can call them gamblers. As Bernard Baruch once said, you know, they started off calling him a gambler. Then he got a little bit successful, and then they started calling him a speculator. At the end, they called him an investor. But nevertheless, it's the same way all the way through, same with me. But if they paid more attention to $2 better, because that's where the revenue comes from, and I think, I'm not trying to make a speech on what a NYRA should do or the Racing Association should do, but they do need to cater to the $2 better, and they need to do it electronically. You don't have to have all the people on track. Let them sit home in their television, and you know, they have their beer and watch, and they got their all the stuff now necessary electronically. Got the iPad, the iPhone, and all that. So instead of trying to get them to track, we'll get new fans out there electronically, because my grandkids know how to get on the internet and do all that much better than me, because they started out like learning ABCs when I went.
Yeah.
So much for the speech.
Yeah, we talked about it earlier, in fact, with Andy Serling. You know, the industry is stuck in that old metric of looking at attendance on track, and most of the people now are, as you say, sitting in the living room, and they got a beer, and they're playing on their computer. We have to focus on that a little bit more, maybe.
Instead of attendance, it should be handle.
Yeah.
Because money makes the merry-go, always has and always will.
Yeah. All right, you alluded to it a moment ago when you mentioned the Melbourne Cup, and you talked about it on Saturday when you were in the winner's circle. You said maybe a little more focus on international racing. I know Real Solution, who won the Arlington Million, started his career over in Italy. So what's the game plan as far as internationally for Ken Ramsey and Kitten's Joy?
Well, we're going to go abroad. I've got a string of horses now over at Dermot Weld in Ireland. I've got some over in Italy, and he's also running over in France. They call it France over there. I'm a country boy. I call it France. That's a guy named Gianluca Bianconi. So he had Real Solution over there. When we went first three he won amazingly. And it was 2-5 for the Italian Derby, which we thought was going to win. I flew to Rome the first time. I'm not in the tourist deal, but that's the greatest city I've probably ever been in, the fascination and all that. My God, Caesar's home still there, the arena where they had all that still there. If it's here in the United States, they'd have a shopping mall or something in there now, but still, it's beautiful over there, all the historic stuff. So anyway, I was offered $2.5 million for him, real money, by two different people. I mean, they wasn't kicking tires. Sometimes, you know, yeah, you may or may not. This was real money. But they had Black Caviar, undefeated, coming to Royal Ascot, and they had Franklin, undefeated, coming to Royal Ascot. So I got a little greedy. I says, hey, you know, I can probably get $3 million if I go over there undefeated. And 2-5 in the Italian Derby, we thought we was going to go undefeated. But unfortunately, the lung infection showed up, so we ran up the track and that canceled all that. But we had to give him a year off, got him all cleaned up and everything, brought him over here and gave him to Chad, because you can't give him Lasix over there, so the lungs was a little bit messed up, so brought him over here, and Chad's done a wonderful job with him. I got acquainted with Chad back when Bobby Frankel was my trainer. Bobby Frankel took me to a lot of highs with Precious Kitten and Nothing to Lose, and a lot of good horses he had for me, so I got acquainted with Chad, and Chad's a chip off the old block. He trained just like Bobby. Yeah. Notice how their tails were chopped off European style? That's a tribute to Bobby Frankel. And we've got a good horse called Bobby's Kitten that I gave Chad 7 horses, and I said, look, we want to commemorate one, honor Bobby Frankel, because he's one of my friends. Bobby didn't get along well with everybody, but he and I were on the same page. Unbelievable. So he said, the best one, we'll change his name 2 or 3 days before, so you do it. So he got down to 2, and he said, I don't know which one. I said, work them against each other and make sure we got the right one. So Bobby's Kitten was previously named Turnkey Kitten. The name was changed about 3 days before the race up here, and of course he broke his maiden, and Chad calls him a freak. So if he's going down the Pilgrim Stakes next, that's a grade 3 winning you're in down at Belmont, and if we get in, we're going to Santa Anita with him.
Very good. And again, Ken Ramsey, 22 wins at the meet, establishing a new season record for owners up here at Saratoga. Congratulations. How many do you have in today?
I have 3 in today, but this Groom for Victory, I think, will be number 23. We threw a little mud on the wall. We got a main track only filly that I bought for a ham sandwich. But she could have a little mayonnaise and mustard on the day. But she's probably not going to win. I mean, it's a stake race. We have another 2-year-old, which is so-so. Groom for Victory is my prediction of Number 23.
But as Chris Kay said when he presented you with the plaque on Saturday, he said they hadn't filled in the number of victories because they weren't sure yet. So there's 3 more to go today. We'll see how it winds up. And again, congratulations, not just on Saratoga, but wow, what an incredible year you've had at all the venues.
Best year I've ever had in racing, period. I mean, everything's falling into place. Even the wife, you know, was on the fragile side with her stroke, but she came up for 3 weeks, so she is in the winner's circle several times. She's watching on television all of her success.
Yeah,
Great.
Sorry, I got that. But I should mention Ken and Sarah Ramsey.
Yes.
You know those names get emboldened as the season win leader up here at Saratoga. So it's a team effort.
She always gave a better interview than I did because I kind of get a little hyper and carried away. I mean, she's reserved and all that, but unfortunately the stroke has also taken her speech. So we can communicate with her probably 90% of what she's trying to get across, but she still has to ride on a pad. So it's, you know, losing the ability to walk and having to be in a wheelchair is really rough. But
it was nice to see her up here for that
yes.
for that period in the winner's circle with you. And again, it's been not only a great season but a great year, and hopefully it'll continue. We'll watch you throughout the rest of the year into the Breeders' Cup, and then on the Eclipse Award night, we'll see what happens when those envelopes open up.
We're going to try to keep the ball rolling.
Absolutely. Ken Ramsey, leading owner here at Saratoga. All right, that's going to bring us to our next break. When we come back, Karen McLaughlin. Stay tuned.
I'm Jeff Carl. Join me every Tuesday during the Saratoga Meet for Hall of Fame Legends, a weekly in-depth interview with your favorite Hall of Fame jockeys and trainers.
When they started running 300 years ago, I always said that's what they had in mind, that race.
We'll see you then.
Fascinated by the world of horse racing? Interested in honing your handicapping skills? Class is in session. Night school, Monday nights. Easy to access